So this is sixth video in module number 4. In this video, I'll be discussing about multi-val dependency, definition of multi-val dependency, and some of the examples of multi-val dependency. Fourth normal form, which is based on the concept of multi-val dependency. Joint dependency, the definition of joint dependency and example of joint dependency. On fifth normal form, which is based on joint dependency. At last, I'll be discussing about the domain key normal form. So these multi-val dependencies are the consequences of first normal form. So why we use this multi-val dependencies is the question. So sometimes relations have a constraints that cannot be specified as functional dependencies. We have discussed functional dependencies in the second session video. So for some relations, so constraints cannot be specified as functional dependencies. That time we use multi-valued dependencies. And we are going to define the fourth normal form, which is based on this multi-val dependency. So as I told, these are the consequences of first normal form. So which disallows attributes in a tuple to have set of values. For example, if you consider the employee project here, an attribute will have set of values here, hours and project number. For same SSN, that means one employee is working on multiple projects and we have more than one hours. Project number 1 and 2, project number 1 employee is working on for 32.5 hours, and on project number 2 employee is working for 7.5 hours. So this allows an attribute in a tuple to have more than one set of values. If we have two or more multi-valued independent attribute in a relation schema, we get into the problem of having a repeating every value of one attribute with every value of other attribute to keep the relation state consistent and to maintain the independence among these attribute involved. For example, here Smith, this Smith value is associated with two projects here, X and Y, and they have dependents John and Anna. An employee may work on several projects and may have several dependents. To keep the relation state consistent, we must have a separate tuple to represent every combination of and employees employees project. So this constraint can be specified as multi-val dependencies. So Smith is working on two projects X and Y, and he will be having two dependents. When working on project X, his dependent is John, and when Smith is working on project Y, Anna. In the same way, it repeats for X and Y. So we have a definition of multi-valued functional dependency here. If we have a multi-valued functional dependency X multi-determines Y, that will be specified on universal relation schema R, where X and Y are subset of R. So that specifies the following conditions that on this relation state R of R in such a way that if we have two tuples T1 and T2 in R, then we have a condition that T1 of X is equal to T2 of X. Let's take this as T1 and let's take this as T2. So this is X attribute, this is Y attribute, and this is Z attribute. So we have T1 of X is equal to T2 of X. Smith is equal to Smith. Then two tuples, we have two tuples T3 and T4 exist in R in such a way that T3 of X is equal to T4 of X. This is T3. So we have T3 of X is equal to T4 of X. The last tuple is T4 of X. Then we have T1 of X is equal to T2 of X. That means all tuple values for X attribute should be same. And also we have T3 of Y is equal to T1 of Y. This is T3 of Y is equal to T1 of Y, that is satisfied. And T4 of Y is equal to T2 of Y. That is also satisfies. We use Z to denote R minus X union Y. So if X multi-determines Y holds good, because of symmetry in the definition, X multi-determines Z also holds good here. Because of symmetry in the definition, X multi-determines Z also holds good in the relation. So this is multivariate dependency. An attribute multiple times determines another attribute. So trivial multivariate dependency. So the definition I'm going to state right now. A trivial multivariate dependency X multi-determines Y in R is called as trivial if Y is a subset of X. If Y is a subset of X, we have a multivariate dependency that employee name multi-determines project name. So Y is not a subset of X. The second condition holds good here. X union Y is equal to R. So this kind of dependency is trivial functional dependency. Whereas this dependency, that is employee name multi-determines project name, which is corresponding to this relation R, is not a trivial functional dependency because X union Y is not equal to R. We have three attributes in R. So this is not a trivial functional dependency. And also Y is not a subset of X. So that's the definition of trivial multivariate dependencies. We have 8 inference rules for multivariate dependencies. Those 3 are Armstrong's inference rules: reflexive rules, augmentation rule, and transitive rules. And we do have IR6 and IR5 and IR4 for multivariate dependencies here. And IR8 is also for multivariate dependency. A reflexive rule says that if Y is a subset of X, then X determines Y holds good. Augmentation rule, if we have X determines Y, then we are adding attribute Z to the left hand side and right hand side, RHS and LHS, then XZ determines YZ. The examples we have discussed in the previous sessions video about these augmentation rules, reflexive rules, and transitive rules. Transitive rule, X transitively determines Z, X determines Y determines Z, then we can write it as X determines Z. Complementation rule for multivariate dependency, X multi-determines Y, then we can write it as X multi-determines R minus X union Y, R minus X union Y. It may be Z, R minus the attributes X and Y that is available in the both RHS and RHS and LHS, R minus X union Y. Augmentation rule, X determines Y, then Z is a subset of W, then we can write it as W and X determines YZ. We are adding W attribute to the left hand side and Z attribute to the right hand side. Transitive rule of multivariate dependency. We have X multi-determines Y and Y multi-determines Z. Then we can write it as X multi-determines Z minus Y. X multi-determines Z minus Y. Replication rule of multivariate dependency. X determines Y can be written as X multi-determines Y. So IR8, if you have a functional dependency, multivariate dependency, X multi-determines Y, then there exists W with the property that if W intersection Y is empty and W determines Z and Z is a subset of Y, then we can write it as X determines Z. So this is IR8. So you just need to list out the inference rules. Fourth normal form. So this fourth normal form is based on the concept of multivariate dependency, and the table is in fourth normal form if it does not have any multivariate dependencies. So the definition of fourth normal form goes like this: a relation schema R is in fourth normal form with respect to set of dependencies F that includes both functional dependency and multivariate dependencies. For every non-trivial multivariate dependency, X multi-determines Y in F plus X is a super key of R. Non-trivial in the sense, in this case, the non-trivial multivariate dependency is this one, X ename multi-time determines project name and day name. So on the ename multi-determines P name is also non-trivial. Trivial in the sense with respect to this thing, ename multi-determines P name. So trivial means X union Y should be equal to R. R, Y is a subset of X. For every non-trivial multiple dependency, X multi determines Y in F plus, X should be a super key of R, where F plus is called as closure of X. So it contains set of all dependencies that will hold in every relation state R of R, and that satisfies F. So we have a relation here. So these dependencies, employee name multi-determines project name and employee name multi-determines department name, not in fourth normal form because we have multi-val dependencies. So employee projects and employee dependents are in multi-val dependence, sorry, are in fourth normal form because we are decomposing this relation into two sub-relations, employee projects and employee dependents, fourth normal form decomposition. So if you can observe here, if Brown is working on 4 projects, W, X, Y, Z, and he is having a 3 dependents, Jim, John, and Bob, that means I need to write 12 times this one, 12 times. But in this case, I'm avoiding the redundancy by writing only 8 times. That means 4 times in employee projects and 3 times in 3 times in employee dependents. So in this case, around 12 tuples we are going to get it. So instead of 7 tuples, so 7 tuples are added extra here. So here for Smith, Smith is working on 2 projects, but he is having 2 dependents. So that's why I do have only 2 tuples here. I do have only 2 tuples. So the relations employee projects and employee dependents are in fourth normal form, and whereas the EMP is not in fourth normal form. So because we do have multi-val dependencies. Smith multi-determines, sorry, employee name multi-determines project name and employee name multi-determines department name, and fourth normal form requires relation should not have any multi-val dependency. Of course, the relation is in BCNF. The reason is that it's an all key relations. We don't have any dependencies that hold on these relations. So this relation is in BCNF, but this relation suffers from multi-val dependency. So this fourth normal form is stronger than BCNF and avoids this kind of multi-val dependencies. So we have a lossless joint decomposition to fourth norm, non-additive joint decomposition to fourth normal form. So when we get this joint dependency or joint decomposition, whenever we decompose the relation R into two sub-relation R1 and R2 with respect to set of functional dependencies, okay, then there should be any loss, there should not be any loss of information. There should not be any generation of spurious tuples. So we have a property LG1 here, and this lossless giant decomposition to fourth normal form holds good if and only if R1 intersection R2, where R1 intersection and R2 are the decomposition of R, multi determines R1 minus R2. So by symmetry of the definition, R1 intersection R2 multi determines R2 minus R1. We can also write down like this. So the next topic is joint dependency, which is fifth normal form is based on this joint dependency. If you have a universal relation R, a joint dependency is denoted by JD of R1, R2, Rn. It specifies a constant on relation state, and the constant says that there should have non-additive joint decomposition of R1, R2, Rn. That means if we perform natural join operation on R1, R2, Rn, so the individual states of this R1, R2, Rn should be equal to the universal relation state R. That means, so if we decompose the original relation into sub-relation R1, R2 and Rn, it should not have to create any spurious tuples. There should not be any loss of information. There should not be generation of any additional tuples. The state of the joint relations should be equal to the state of the original relation. So that is called as joint dependency. If you perform natural join operation on all the relations, that is R1 star R2 star R3, that means if we decompose R into 3, this thing, the total number of tuples in R should be equal to total number of tuples from the natural join result operation. So this joint dependencies JD is denoted by this one, and it's specified on relation schema. R is trivial joint dependency if one of the relation schema Ri in JD is equal to R. That means if any one of the decomposed relation contains equal number of attributes, then that is called as trivial joint dependency. Now we can see here this is not supporting this joint dependency property, because we are decomposing the relation R, that is ABC. R of ABC is decomposed into two relations, that is R1 AB and R2 AC. So the join dependency property, lossless non-additive join property says that if we perform natural join operation on R1 and R2, there should not be any spurious tuples or additional tuples that needs to be generated. There should not be any loss of information. But in this case, we have spurious tuples. That means there is a loss of information here. So if you join with B attribute, sorry, common attribute is A here. So A1, 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 B1, C1. So we got it A1, B1, C1. Next A1, B1, A1, C2. A1, B1, A1, C2. This is spurious tuples. And next A1, B2, A1, C1. So this is also spurious tuples that is not available in original relation. A1, B2, C2. So these two tuples are there. So this decomposition is going to provide a spurious tuples. So this decomposition is not good. If you consider the right hand side one, this decomposition based on common attribute C, we are performing the decomposition, and then if we join together, we are going to get the original result. So we have to perform the decomposition in such a way that R1 attribute of R1 union attribute of R2 should be equal to R. That means AC union BC is equal to ABC, that we are going to get it. And also intersection of R1 intersection R2 should not be equal to 5. That means AC intersection BC, that is C, not equal to 5. And also we have to perform the decomposition in such a way that any one of the candidate keys should be present in this decomposed relation. Now C is the candidate key. So now this particular decomposition is not going to provide any spurious tuples. So this fifth normal form is based on the concept of joint dependency, and it says that a relation or a table is in fifth normal form only if it is in fourth normal form. It should be in fourth normal form, and it should not have any joint dependency. That means even if we decompose if we decompose a relation R into sub-relation R1 and R2, the joining of natural joining of R1 and R2 should have to produce the original resulting relation. Otherwise, if in case of any additional tuples or if there is any loss of information, then we can say that the relation is not in fifth normal form. And also it says that it cannot be further non-less decomposed. So the whatever the decomposed relations should not be further decomposed. It is also called as project join normal form. Now let us consider the case. Here we have a supply relation. In the supply relation, so I'm decomposing this supply relation into two parts, R1 and R2. Does this decomposition satisfy the joint dependency property? Are we going to get the exact attributes, exact number of tuples that are available in the original results? Let us check it. Smith, Bolt, Smith, Project X. So that is there, we are getting it. Next, Smith, Bolt, Project Y. Yes, that is there. Next, Smith, second one, Smith, Nut, Smith, Project X. Smith, Nut, Project X is not there. That means that is the spurious tuples that we are going to get it. If you perform this kind of, this one, Smith, Nut, Project X. Project X is not there, because Smith is not supplying a part name nut to the project X, but still we are getting this information. There is a loss of information here. Additional tuple, we are getting it. Okay. So this decomposition does not guarantee the production of original results. Now, if I decompose this supply result relation into R1, R2, R3, then let's see, like if I perform natural join operation on R1 star R2 star R3, I need to get the original relations, original resulting tuples. Smith Bolt, Smith, okay, project Smith Bolt project X, that is there. Next Smith Bolt. So project X, again project X is combined here. We are going to get it. Smith Bolt project Y, project Y. Smith Bolt project Y, we are going to get it. Next, you take this one. Smith Nut, Smith project X, project X. So we are performing on project name here. Smith. Here we are performing on part name, or which one? S name. Smith Nut, Smith project X. So does we have nut here with respect to project X? No. So if we perform natural join operation of R1, R2 and R3, we are going to get the exact number of tuples that are available in the original relation. So this decomposition is going to provide exact number of tuples. So we don't have any spurious tuples. So now we can say that R1, R2, R3 are in fifth normal form. The fifth normal form definition says that a relation schema R is in fifth normal form. Also, it can be called as project join normal form with respect to set F of functional dependencies and multiple dependencies and joint dependencies. If for every non-trivial dependency, JD of R1, R2, Rn in F plus, Ri should be the super key of R. That means any one of the key should be a super key of R in the decomposed relations. So that's about fifth normal form. So here the relations apply with no multi-val dependencies. We don't have any multi-val dependencies because the first condition itself is failed here, because T1 of X is equal to T2 of X and T3 of X is equal to T4 of X. We have T1 of X is equal to T2 of X and T3 and T4 are different. So we don't have any multi-val dependencies. So the relation is in fourth normal form. Now we have to decompose this relation into fifth normal form. Decomposing the relations apply into fifth normal form into relations R1 and R2, R3, because so we have a joint dependency here. If we further decompose it, we may get the joint dependency. So we are decomposing into R1, R2 and R3. So and R1, R2, R3 cannot be further decomposed. So this is the final set of relations. So that are in fifth normal form. The same diagram that has been repeated here. So the last one, other dependencies and normal forms, domain key normal form. As its name indicates, it's specifically based on some domain constants and key constants. Domain constant, there is no hard and fast rules about defining normal forms, only up to fifth normal form. So a relation schema is said to be in domain key normal form if all the constraints and all the functional dependencies that should have to hold on these relation states can be enforced by using domain constant and key constants on relations. We have seen the domain constant, that's nothing but the data types, and key constants we have primary key, foreign key, differential integrity constant and entity integrity constants, unique constants, all those stuffs. We can enforce this constant using keys and domain constant. So here the idea is to specify the ultimate normal form that takes into the account all possible types of dependencies and constraints. So for a relation to be in DKNF, it becomes very straightforward to enforce all database constraints by simply checking that each attribute value in a tuple of the appropriate domain and that every key constraint is enforced. How we are going to enforce it? So by checking the domain of that particular attribute and checking the key constraints are satisfied or not. So the practical utility of domain key normal form is limited because it is very difficult to enforce complex constraints using the KNF. So that's it. So this will be the end of this session.